You are listening to KFUG LP Crescent City. That is 101.1 FM on the dial. You might also be streaming us online at kfugradio.org. I am Amanda Dockter, and it's about that time for Squirrel Interrupted. And I'm super excited because today I'm joined here in the studio by my darling friend of the show, former coworker / just general all-around community fun friend lady, Angela Gray.
What a great intro. Fun friend lady.
Friend lady.
I think I will put that on my name tag.
There you go. Well, let's give you a little more street cred. You are the food forest manager at the Crescent City Food Forest.
That is also true,
And
but I prefer my new title of Fun Friend Lady.
Fun friend lady. Yes.
Oh, Amanda, I always look forward to sitting down with you. We do tend to have some fun when we do that.
We do. This is almost like coming full circle for us because we came down in here to KFUG together back when I was working at the Food Council to start talking about the things that we were promoting and working on. And that conversation was just so much stinking fun that I fell in love with the place. And now every time I have you back, it's like, oh,
it's a cozy memory, right?
It's a lovely one.
I know. I love the ways that we get to interact in the community. It's really awesome.
It's been really fun lately, just connecting all the dots between the folks working with the pollinator fair and all the various programs. And we're going to talk today about the seed and plant exchange.
Yes, we are.
And it's happening. It's happening. I can't believe it's been a year since the last one.
I know. I was just looking back at some of my notes because I'm preparing for this year's, and I was like, wow, we did a lot in a year.
Yeah. Oh my goodness. Yeah.
And one of the things that we're doing differently at the Seed and Plant Exchange is we actually moved the location because last year we literally blew the doors off the Family Resource Center.
Yeah, it was crowded. Like it was hopping. Like we had people coming in and out the whole time. I saw people gossiping on Facebook in a good way, actually, about this.
Yeah.
You normally don't see good gossip on Facebook, but oh my gosh, it was so much fun. I saw people I didn't expect. We traded. It was a beautiful thing. So many showed up.
I have a special term to share with you. So we're just going to build vocabulary now on this show.
Excellent.
When there is something that is positive and it's gossip, I started calling it posy-gazi.
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 Sounds like you're hanging out with a posse of geese, but
I do actually. That's on brand for me.
But it's a little nicer.
Yeah. Oh man, I got to start calling my geese friends the posy-gazi.
The posy-gazi.
Or the gazi posse? I don't know.
Let's play around with that.
We'll have fun with the words. It's fine.
But yeah, we did such an amazing job last year of distributing free seeds to the community because that's really what the heart of this event is really just getting seeds out into the community that can then be planted into gardens so we can grow more food in Del Norte County. That's our number one goal. One of the things we've been worried about this year is, what if we run out of seeds? And I've been reminding everybody, that means we're successful. Because that's the goal, is to give out seeds.
Absolutely. And people bring their own too, right? Like
you can absolutely donate.
BYOS?
Yeah, BYOS, BYOP, because we're also exchanging plants. So we have a table just for exchanging of plants.
Okay.
So if you have too many, if you bought a 6-pack of something and you only need 2 of them in your garden because you've been learning about beginning gardening and you know square foot planting, that those little broccoli plants are actually going to get really big. So if you've got too many of your starts and you want to share those with a neighbor, or you don't have a neighbor that gardens, you want to meet your people, you can bring your donations down to the fairgrounds, because that's actually where we're hosting the event this year, is at the Del Norte Fairgrounds, and we'll be in the Floral Building. The event is running from noon to 4, and that's on March 16th. We're probably going to repeat this over and over again.
Repetition for retention.
Yes. But there's many amazing things that are happening aside from giving out seeds at this event. So I'm really looking forward to it.
That is awesome. I remember last year, like, it was such a beautiful scene. I worked the information table And Victor came and actually helped me for a little while, which was super fun because he's like an excellent hype man. He's really good at his greetings. Hi.
Oh,
and
yeah.
just brightening up the room. That was
that's
beautiful.
Awesome.
But I mean, just seeing how many people came through, so many different walks of life. You know, you had the folks coming down from the mountains, and you had the rural homesteaders, and you had natives, and you had tourists, and you had, you know, local celebrities, you know, little figureheads, all just like mingling together and sharing their resources. I'm like, oh my God, this is it. This is what community is supposed to be.
Well, you know, all those diagrams they're always drawing where they show the circles like overlapping.
Yeah, the Venn diagram.
Yeah. So one of the places that we all overlap is we all eat.
Yeah, there is that.
Every single one of us, the plants, the animals, the people, we're all eating. And so that can really do exactly what you said. We're brushing shoulders with community members that we may not see in our little bubbles that we travel in. But when we have these overlapping interests that brings everybody to the center around seeds, well, then we see all of our people because we all eat.
That is beautiful, and it has squirreled me on to our next song choice because it fits beautifully with that theme. I do believe, I believe that finding that common ground and starting at the base level is a beautiful way to build community, because that is the one thing that we all can agree on. We all got to eat, right?
Yeah, we all got
to eat. And so let's start there. If we can break bread and have conversations and share our resources there on that level, then those relationships grow and our community network grows stronger. And yay.
I couldn't have said it any better.
I mean, you probably could have, but... Okay. So I'm going to play this song called Overlap by Ani DeFranco, and then I'm going to recollect myself with my darling friend Ange here and decide, ask her more stuff about the seed and plant exchange that's coming up, because I'm excited. This is going to be a good thing. All right, stay tuned. You're listening to Squirrel Interrupted, and I'm going to touch the button. That was Overlap by Ani DeFranco, because I know that there is strength in the differences between us, and I know that there is comfort where we overlap. I am Amanda Dockter, and I'm talking with my darling friend, Angela Gray, master gardener and food forest manager for the Del Norte and Tribal Lands Community Food Council, and we are excitedly talking about the 2024 Del Norte and Tribal Lands Seed and Plant Exchange, which is coming up March 16th. That is next Saturday. Yeah? Is that how time works?
Yeah.
Not this one, but next one. Unless you're listening to the replay. So, and then you're just going to have to take my word that it's March 16th. Between noon and 4 at the Del Norte County Fairgrounds at the Floral Building. And we were talking off mic, and you were telling me that there's going to be some cool presentations coming up with grafting. And I'm going to be honest with you, Ange, don't judge me. I don't know what grafting is. Help me out. Talk to me about this.
Well, that's really cool, because I love it when people don't know what I'm talking about, because then it gives me a reason to exist, because then I have a reason to tell you what that means.
My existence is justified.
I am justified. So grafting is a really cool, fun, technical term that has to do with growing fruit trees. And what most people don't know is that fruit trees are not grown from seed.
How?
I know.
Is it like a nut? No, wait. Talk to me.
Tell me more. Because when we eat an apple, right? Oh, this apple was delicious. It's a Honeycrisp apple. I want to grow a Honeycrisp tree. I'm going to take this seed from this apple and put it in the ground, and yay, then I'll have a Honeycrisp tree. No, you won't.
Is not how that works. Johnny Appleseed
lied?
Not
how it works. Johnny Appleseed is a big fat liar. Well, one of the things that we've done since the times of Johnny Appleseed is we've figured out what things are bringing in disease and which things are too tall and what have you. So we use something called rootstock, and it's a tree that's grown not necessarily for its delicious fruit, but for its root structure. Okay. And for the health and viability of a tree, we want it to have the very best life and disease resistance and what have you. So what we do is we take a rootstock.
Okay.
And generally, these are apple. And we graft, so we perform plant surgery.
Plant surgery?
Yes.
Oh, my goodness.
So we can take something, a little branch that has at least 2 buds from a fruit tree, like an apple, a pear, a plum, a stone fruit, any of those trees, right? Okay. And we can take that little branch and keep it alive for a little while, and then we can perform surgery by connecting it through this process called grafting onto a rootstock. Now, the rootstock we pick out for the health and viability and size of the tree we want. And then the scion is what the little branch is called. Okay. The scion we pick out because, this Honeycrisp was delicious, or this, Gold Rush apple was delicious, and that I want that one. Okay. So we can take a little baby branch from that tree that's just starting to form some buds when it's in its dormancy. Okay. And snip that buddy off. And then we perform that special surgery we call grafting onto the rootstock, and voila, now we have a specific type of fruit tree. We know it's going to bear that type of fruit, and we know that it's going to have a better life because it has the right rootstock that's going to help it grow the right size and be resistant to the right diseases.
Okay. Now, help me out with this. The rootstock. Do you go foraging for rootstock? Do you go to the rootstock store? Is it from the same? It doesn't have to be from the same species of tree. Like I'm concerned about the frankenfruit situation, and I need to understand more.
Well, there are some guidelines that we follow for rootstocks. Like when we're purchasing apple trees, we want a rootstock that goes along with that. And we do go to a specialty nursery for this type of thing. Okay. So shout out to Willamette Nursery. That's where we ordered our rootstock this year. And we just flashed in the studio. Did we lose power?
For a second there, we might have. I might have to put on some music and check and see if the computer's still up and running. Let's go ahead and do that. I'm gonna get one of your songs in here. You gave me a brilliant mycelium.
Oh, yes. Let's listen to that, because mycelium has to do with roots. So that's a wonderful thing to segue and check that the computer is still working.
Yeah, things are glitching like crazy. I think we lost internet. So I don't know if we're actually it dropped again.
We don't know what's happening, y'all. Things are beeping.
Wow. Live radio, folks. Okay, let me see if I touch a button if something will play, and then I will go investigate. Let's find out together. Oh my goodness, it's being feisty today. Okay. No. Oh man. Okay, wait. Are you a thing? Are you actually working? You loaded something. Let's find out. Thank you for your patience, beautiful people. No, I don't think it actually is connected. Or maybe it is. Hold on, let me. Thank you for your patience, listeners at home, if you can hear us.
We're not sure.
We're not even sure.
This actually makes for good radio fodder, because this is also something that we need to talk about in conjunction with the Seed and Plant Exchange.
That's true.
But we'll hold that thought.
Okay. Oh my goodness. Okay. So, do you have a random anecdote that will last you long enough for me to run into the other room?
I feel on the spot.
I know.
I can come up with something. Let's see. Okay. Yes, I'll talk about a random anecdote.
Oh, thank you so much, Ange. We appreciate you. I'm going to go investigate the technical issues.
A random anecdote. So, we just had a Careers in Food Systems speaker series at the college. It was really great. And we had at least 5 experts speaking who have formed their careers in these food systems. Our focus was around food producers, and we were looking at meat, dairy, and vegetables for this round. And we're doing a second part later on in April.
Okay.
But this past one that we just did was really amazing. And
we had good turnout?
We did. We had students come over from the high school. They walked over to the CR campus, and we welcomed them with these experts. And it was really cool because we got to hear from some of our local folks. Some of us know them. Stephanie Alexander was there, Joby Rumiano. We had Eddie Tanner from the Cooperative Farm Extension.
Oh, he was at the Seed and Plant Exchange last year.
He was.
I got pictures with him.
Yeah. And we're doing something really cool in a partnership with him that we'll talk about more once we know everything is stable. But we had Eddie Tanner, then we had Esther Gomez from Prairie Companion Company, that's right here in Del Norte, and then we also had our fabulous Julie Jo Ayers Williams from Ocean Air Farms. So it was a really amazing panel of experts, and as I was saying, some of these people we know or have run into in our community, but we asked them to speak about their pathway to their careers, and it was really nice because we kind of got to know them on a different level, people talking about their youth and coming into college and, their history, not just who they are today.
Yeah. And I think that's important to have that sort of context, especially when you're in this little rural, small town, isolated thing. A lot of people grow up and go away. Yeah. Or they grow up and they struggle. And so to be able to have success stories to look at step by step, you can, it can kind of help you mind map your own way, even if it's not to follow in those footsteps, but to see an example playing out.
Yeah, I thought that was really cool and inspiring, and we're really excited to do it again. It was our first time doing something like this. So we're excited to kind of make it part of our routine.
Beautiful. Okay, so there was a lot of technical difficulties and glitches up in there. The playout software decided to poltergeist its way on and start randomly playing things while you were talking. So I apologize.
Fun.
You may have been cut over at one point, but Paul also came in and he said that we are still on the air. Excellent. And that we just had to wait for the internet to reboot, and it looks like it has. So as promised, I'm going to share this song with you all that Ange Gray here shared with me. It's Brilliant Mycelium is the name of it, by Beautiful Chorus. And how? Brilliant Mycelium Fantastic Fungus. There we go. Fantastic Fun Guy.
Yeah, it's from that movie. If you haven't seen it, it's a pretty cool movie. There's a movie called Fantastic Fun Guy.
I have not seen it.
Oh.
I might have to look into it. I am into fun guys. Wait. All right. This is a very beautiful song we'll share here. We'll recollect ourselves and get back to the task at hand, but it's okay that we squirrel. It's on brand. Stay tuned. This is Squirrel Interrupted on KFUG Community Radio, and we're about to bring you a beautiful chorus of Brilliant Mycelium. That was Brilliant Mycelium by Beautiful Chorus from Fantastic Fun Guy, which is apparently a movie.
It is. And I really like that it ends with share our wisdom, because that's what we're here to do.
We are. And some of that wisdom is earned through running face first into walls, making mistakes, and glitching and panicking over tech failures.
My goodness.
But
we didn't panic, though. I was really proud of us.
We didn't panic.
Yeah.
We're just like, oh, well, that's a thing.
And I always have a towel, so we're winning.
Excellent.
We're doing it.
Excellent. You know where your towel is? We've got this. We've got this.
We do.
For those of you just joining us, you are listening to KFUG LP Crescent City. I'm Amanda Dockter. This is Squirrel Interrupted, and this week I have on as my lovely guest Angela Gray, Master Gardener, Food Forest Manager for the Del Norte and Tribal Lands Community Food Council. And before the electricity and internet started getting all spicy, we were having a conversation about how we graft roots into scions of trees and make these cool Franken trees with the best possible root structure and also the kind of fruit that you want.
The tastiest fruit, right?
And they're going to be teaching how to do this at the Seed and Plant Exchange coming up.
Well, not only are they going to be teaching this, but my mentor, Terry Alloway, is going to be teaching this.
Shout out.
And if you have ever had the opportunity to soak up any of the jewels of wisdom that Terry Alloway has to share, you'll know what a treat it is to have her teaching this hands-on demonstration. She'll be teaching it at different intervals. We'll have a schedule. And we're kind of finalizing those things at our steering committee meeting tomorrow night. So if you want to help plan any of the Seed and Plant Exchange fun times. You're always welcome to join us at our steering committee meetings, which happen once a month. That's on the first Thursday of every month, which just happens to be tomorrow.
Unless you're listening to the replay, in which case you'll have to do some time travel.
You got to figure it out for yourself, friends. You're on your own on the replay. So yeah, we will have kind of finalized, but our idea was to have demos happening all throughout the event. And the event's going from noon to 4 p.m. So there should be something happening in the hour that you choose to visit. But this tree grafting is pretty dang cool. Yeah. And it won't be the only time that Terry will be doing something like that. We plan to bring her into a few youth organizations to do this demo again, because we have lots of rootstock that we bought for this event, and she'll be selling trees as well. So
right on.
If there is a particular pre-made trees or trees made right there on the spot,
wow.
She's going to have a variety. We're really blessed because the Humboldt folks are having a seed and plant exchange the weekend before ours.
Oh, okay.
And she'll be attending that one as well to kind of pick out some beautiful scions.
Nice.
Now, again, those are the little branch pieces that you graft onto the rootstock. So she'll be picking out some really amazing varieties that she'll be then bringing to us here in Del Norte County. So we're going to kind of get the best of both worlds. We get a little bit of the seed and scion exchange that they're having down in Humboldt County right here in Del Norte without having to travel.
There you go. And you said the scion is the little branch that's got at least 2 buds.
Got at least 2 buds so that it can be grafted onto the rootstock, and that it has like a healthy fighting chance for becoming a thing, because failure is an option.
Yeah. And how? No, okay. So do these things? Is there like a rehabilitation process? Are the trees grafted in intensive care, or does it take immediately? Like, what is the healing process for this amalgamation to work together?
There is a healing process, and this is not my area of expertise, so I don't know the exact timeline. But usually, it's a cut that's made on both sides, and then it's grafted together with some kind of, I think it's a tape that is used special for this purpose. And then there is a healing period, just like when we have, a bone or skin graft or something like that.
That's what I was thinking of.
Yeah. I mean, the plants are doing similar things that we are doing. So yeah, there's a healing process, and I'm sure that Terry will be giving out great information about any special care that you might need to take of your tree. But I think mostly it's just, don't touch that spot. Don't pull on it.
Don't poke at it.
Yeah.
Don't pick at the scab.
Yeah. Let it heal. And yeah, there's really some general guidelines around planting fruit trees as well. So
Sweet.
We'll be covering all of that at the Seed and Plant Exchange, because some of my cohort, my classmates from the Master Gardener Association, I guess is what we'd call ourselves, will be coming up as well to represent here in Del Norte. They'll have an information table. My colleagues Annie and Lisa will be manning the table, and they'll be there to answer any questions that you have. And then we've also created a special space within the event that's just for beginning gardeners. So if you have beginning gardener questions or queries, or want to check in with an individual that wants to support you, there'll be a special table just for those folks. Yeah.
So if you're showing up, you're like, okay, this backyard gardening thing seems kind of hip. I'm sick of these grocery prices. Where do I get, but my thumbs are not green. In fact, they're purple, or I don't know what.
I don't even know what color they are.
I don't even know what color my thumbs are, but I don't know. Those beginners coming at it blind, they can come on up to the Seed and Plant Exchange March 16th between noon and 4 p.m. and they can find their beginner's table.
Absolutely.
And just ask the questions that feel dumb but aren't.
Yes, absolutely. And I encourage all questions, especially ones that feel dumb, because usually, so, I'm what people call an expert, even though
I love your little quotation.
I know, I did my
bunny rabbit ears.
quotations because not one of us feels that way. We are all carrying that imposter syndrome. It's so normal and just part of life. But I still am learning. And when a beginner asks a beginner question, it makes me think about things in a way that maybe I haven't in a long time. And it sort of refreshes my memory. And sometimes I learn something too.
Oh, yeah. Yeah. I love that part about the teaching process when through the act of reteaching it to someone else, you're reteaching it to yourself as well, because you have a different lens than the last time you taught it.
Totally.
And so you might have picked up something different along the way, and it also, that repetition reinforces it to yourself. So I think the more we teach each other, the more we skill share in that way. It's not just, oh, look at me, I'm doing a good deed for my community. It's no, I'm helping myself too. We help ourselves when we help each other.
Yeah. And because of my role at the Food Forest, I run these summer camps for kids. I interact with adults. I work with, youth that are high school or college age. So I'm all across the spectrum. And it really helps me to gain that perspective of where are you at as a beginner?
Yeah.
And it just helps me be more flexible and versatile and resilient in my teaching, because I'm teaching from age 0 to literally 99.
Yeah.
I would teach 100-year-olds if I knew any. Come at me.
Yeah, come. If you are listening right now to KFUG Community Radio and you are 100 years old, first off, congratulations, you're a baddie. Second off, come meet Angela Gray. She'd be happy to learn how to teach to you, and maybe you can teach her some stuff too.
You are welcome to. Right. And I wanted to segue really quickly, because we're talking about teaching, we're talking about beginners, and another layer of support is coming after the seed and plant exchange. So you've gone to the seed and plant exchange, you've gotten all your seeds, you're really excited about your garden. Maybe you asked a couple of questions of the master gardeners at the plant exchange, but now you've got this pile of seeds, and what do you do? Well, we thought of you. We're launching a class the week after the seed and plant exchange. So it's actually launching, I think it's March 21st. It's a Thursday. And we're launching a class that's called Seed to Supper. Seed to Supper. Yeah. So it's a 6-week-long beginner's guide to low-cost vegetable gardening.
Oh, wow.
Yeah. It was a class that we got from the Oregon Food Bank and the Oregon State University Extension Service.
Okay.
And it's an incredible curriculum, and it really does cover start to finish, how to start your own garden, how to care for your garden. There's this really awesome workbook that we're going to give every participant that goes in depth into the materials. I mean, I just opened the book up to a chapter about planting your garden, and right here it's telling us how to read a seed packet.
Well, let's start there.
Right. Okay. That's important information.
Right.
If you're a brand new gardener and you've picked up this seed packet, you turn it over and there's all this information on the back. It can look kind of overwhelming. And how do you even read that stuff? What does it mean? Sowing depth? Huh?
What? I have a bad habit of throwing away the packet and forgetting that I'm supposed to have the information on it.
You don't read your manuals either, do you?
I'm learning. With my little chaos garden that I had going last year, I learned a lot of lessons through failure, but there were some good successes along the way too, and that was inspiring. But the thing that always trips me up on the seed packets is your growing region, because our growing region is so weird here.
Yeah.
It's right on the border, and it's carved out in such a tiny way on the back of those seed packets that you're like, what number are we? 5? Are we where? What are we? Where? And I have this climate identity crisis. So.
I understand. Well, and there's a bunch of different maps. So there's, I think, 4 or 5 different climate zone classifications, and it depends on who produced it. So there's Sunset, and then there's the USDA, and the numbers are different depending on which map you're looking at.
Gotcha.
But 9B is one of the numbers out there. And don't quote me on which map that comes from. I think that's the Sunset.
Gotcha.
But we will have all that information adapted for our area, ready for you at the beginner gardening table. It'll also be with the master gardeners. So Eddie Tanner, that we were talking about earlier, who is the small farm cooperative extension advisor for UC Davis, and he is he kind of leads the master gardeners, or he's in charge of us anyway. He will be, or I'm sorry, let me back up. He wrote a book a really amazing book called The Humboldt Kitchen Gardener.
That's right.
And I love this book so much that I actually carried it around in my backpack, my purse, whatever item I had with me for about almost 10 years.
Wow.
Because that's how awesome it is, because it's adapted for our area in this zone. Humboldt is very similar to us. It has the inland areas. It has the coastal zones. Our zones are pretty similar as far as numbers go and what have you. So we can adapt a lot of that information for Del Norte County, and we did that. He has a planting map in his book that shows exactly when to plant each vegetable based on whether you're doing it indoors in a covered structure like a greenhouse or a hoop house versus directly sowing it out in the wild winds of Del Norte County. And we adopted that map and adapted it for Del Norte County.
That's beautiful.
Yeah. So we'll have that resource just ready to hand out at some of the tables at the Seed and Plant Exchange.
Beautiful. So Seed and Plant Exchange, I'm going to repeat it again, March 16th. That's next Saturday, 12 to 4 p.m. at the Del Norte County Fairgrounds at the Floral Building. And then this Seed to Supper class, this kicks off the week afterwards. Now, this is in-person hands-on, right? This is not a Zoom dealio?
It's actually a hybrid.
Oh!
Yeah. So we won't be doing any Zooming, but we do have some recorded materials from Zooms of the past that people will be able to watch. And so we're doing a hybrid. It's a little self-study and a little in-person. So there'll be 3 in-person classes. One of which is the launch. So we're going to get you all orientated to the materials. Orientated, is that even a word?
It is now.
Okay, I just
made
called it. We'll get you guided through the materials for that very first class that we're hosting on the 21st. That's happening at the Family Resource Center at 5:30. So come on out and learn hands-on gardening beginner
Seed to Supper.
Yeah, Seed to Supper.
That's beautiful.
And then we'll have 2 follow-up events that'll be hands-on hosted at the Food Forest. And we'll do several hours of hands-on learning from the materials that we're learning in the book. So you'll have the overview class, that launch, where we'll get you set up to learn, and then you'll go away and you'll do some learning on your own. And of course, there'll be some support there for you. So if you have questions or things like that, you'll have resources that you can call on. And then we'll have those 2 in-person hands-on opportunities to take some of what you learned in this book and on the video lessons and then apply them right there hands-on.
And then do the field work.
Yes, exactly. And we're really lucky because we've actually got Eddie Tanner on board to teach the very last hands-on class.
Oh, snap.
Yep. Okay. So because he's based out of Humboldt as the Small Farms Advisor, he does a lot of teaching in that area, and he doesn't come up here as much. So we're really trying to create this as not just an opportunity for the people in the class. We're going to open up that last class to everyone in the community.
Oh, wow.
So even if you don't consider yourself a beginner and you've got some experience, but you want to hear from Eddie, some of his expertise, you'll be able to come out on that last class to the Food Forest and get some in-person Eddie time.
That's beautiful.
Yeah.
Okay, so just I'm gonna repeat details for people who are like, I missed it. So the Seed and Supper workshop class, that the kickoff is the 21st, March 21st, 5:30 p.m. at the Family Resource Center of the Redwoods. That is 494 Pacific Avenue for those not in the know. The old Pacific Market for people who have been here a while.
Yeah, you old school Crescent City folks. Now, we love you.
Is there any registration fee for this, or what are we? How do people get? They just show up, or what's the protocol here?
It does help us if you register for the class on our website. It's free, so we're not charging you. We just want to know who all's coming so that we can prepare enough printed materials. We want chairs, but we're also providing each participant a book. Like, this book is amazing. It's 160 pages, including the appendixes, and it's a workbook, so you can write all in it and over it, and it really is a wonderful resource.
So this is a free class.
Free class.
Free materials, free class. Literally, this just come take advantage of this. Okay.
Yeah.
So that the website is D like Delta or like Del Norte. DNATL Food seedsuperclass.com, right?
You got it.
I used to design that website. I better remember it. And so you can register just on the landing page of dnatlfood.com and register for that Seed to Supper class coming up March 21st. That is, you said 5:30 p.m.
5:30 p.m.
Family Resource Center of the Redwoods. And that's free. That is a free resource for beautiful. And you get the workbook, and it's like a little class, and you can take it home and do your self-study, and or come on down to the Food Forest the 2 weeks after.
Yeah, so the events that we'll be hosting will be happening actually in April.
Okay.
So we've selected a couple of Saturdays, and we have Saturday, April 6th as the second hands-on class.
Okay.
And then the last class, which Eddie Tanner will be helping teach, and we'll open that up again to the whole community. We'll do a bunch of press on this. So hopefully we'll remind everyone, hey, this thing's happening.
It's happening.
But that's going to be happening April 27th.
Awesome.
Yeah.
Okay, beautiful. And that will be at the Crescent City Food Forest, which is at the College of the Redwoods / like right across the street from the tennis courts at the Del Norte High School.
Yeah,
so,
Good one.
Yeah. Well, I like to try and orient these things for people, because when I'm listening and they're like, oh, it's just at, this place here. At where? At Am I going to spell the actual name of the food forest now? Because I will misspell it unless I'm copying and pasting. And I don't mean to. I don't want to butcher it.
I know. I always go back and double check everything.
But you know the correct pronunciation, though. You've practiced
I do.
this.
Yes. I love teaching the name. So the Food Forest was created in partnership with the Tolowa Dene Nation, and it's also on Tolowa land.
As are we all.
Exactly.
Well, I mean, unless you're listening from Yurok land.
Then it very well could be, right?
Right. Well,
we've had those callers call in on us
It's
before.
true. We have fact checkers, and we appreciate them. We don't want to spread disinformation here. We care.
Yeah, so we have a Tolowa name for the Food Forest, and I love teaching it to people when they come to the Food Forest, just as part of their experience there. And I'll say it for you now. It's the Ta'at Dun Chene Tetem, and that is Crescent City Tree Garden in Tolowa.
Oh,
yeah.
Tree garden.
I know.
I love that. That makes me happy. Okay, all right. I'm going to be super honest with you. I have to go potty, so I'm going to put on a song.
I love that we can do that.
It's fine. No, it's actually, I've built it into part of the theme. One of my friends that I have on as a regular guest is wheelchair bound, and so toilet accessibility has in fact become one of our revolutionary themes that we talk about. So we're normalizing the fact that you got to fight for your right to potty. And right now I've got to go potty. So your job is, I grabbed a couple of songs from that you had given me before. I have How Deep Is Your Love or Are You Having Any Fun? What's Angie's pick?
Let's do Are You Having Any Fun? Because I really want to know.
Are you having fun?
Are you?
I am. I'm always having fun when I'm with you, Angie. Stay tuned. This is KFUG Community Radio. Squirrel Interrupted, Amanda Dockter, and Ange Gray. Are You Having Any Fun? By Elaine Stritch. This is Squirrel Interrupted here on KFUG Community Radio, and I am with my darling friend, Master Gardener, Food Forest Manager, and what did I call you? Super fun lady.
Super fun, friendly lady, or gosh, I already forgot my title.
Darn it. So we should have written it down when we had a chance. Wah, wah, wah. It's all good. We have been talking about some upcoming events. I'm just so ready for spring. I'm looking at this blue sky today after what feels like months of dreary, like just wetness, and I'm so ready. I'm so ready for spring. And so talking about these things gives me hope. It's like it's coming. It's coming. I can see the blossoms. I can see the buds.
I would just like to wear a different pair of shoes. Every day when I go to put my shoes on, I'm like, well, is today the day I can wear these cute boots? No, it's the extra toughs every day.
Until the mud is no longer mud. So we've got the Del Norte Tribal Lands 2024 Seed and Plant Exchange coming up, as previously mentioned, Saturday, March 16th, 12 to 4 p.m. at the Del Norte Fairgrounds. And all sorts of stuff going on there. They will have a beginner's table. They will have grafting demonstrations. You can bring your own seeds. You can bring your own starts. You can buy them. You can swap them for free. You can meet your neighbors and share your skills and resources. it's a groovy sort of thing. But you said you had an anecdote about how we wound up at the building that we're at the fairgrounds.
Oh gosh, so funny. So one of the things that you asked me when we were off the air is, are we doing any workshops this year? And we had intended to do some workshops, and we ran into barricades and barriers all along the way. Oof. And one of the things that we were considering was renting another building at the fairgrounds, because we just didn't have enough room with all the things that we wanted to do inside the venue that we were
it was
going with.
Packed last
right?
year. We had a huge turnout.
Yeah,
so yeah, it would make sense.
And just like all the
space.
elements that we want to have there, you know, the beginner table, we're going to have some vendors there. We're going to have some demonstrations, you know, and then the seeds. We need a lot of room for the seeds, right? So we just kind of ran out of space, and sound was important too. You know, we didn't want to have the workshops in the same room as all the seed exchanging, because we didn't want to be drowning out people asking questions at the tables. We also didn't want people asking questions at the tables interrupting the workshop presenters, yada, yada, yada. Yeah. So we had kind of considered renting a second building. But with that comes weird logistics, like, oh, I want to go to the workshops, but now they're over there. Yeah. And then we reached out to some of the workshop presenters from last year, and they weren't available. Womp womp. So we decided to scrap the workshops and move forward with just being all in one room. Well, then just about a week ago, we found out that a transformer blew at the fairgrounds.
Imagine that.
And so the original building that we rented was the Arts and Crafts building.
Oh, right. Yeah.
And we ended up having to move to the Floral building, which is where we thought we might have some workshops. So really, like, life was just guiding us along the way. Like, no, don't do the workshops, otherwise you won't have a backup plan for where to host the seed and plant exchange. So we've gone through 2 or 3 flyers for this event.
Oh my goodness.
And now we have a new flyer out
Show
there.
up at the fairgrounds, look for the crowd of people.
Someone will direct you.
So you'll find it.
But yeah, we'll be in the Floral building. But because that transformer blew, they're running off of generator power over at the fairgrounds right now, because apparently it's a big deal when a transformer blows, and it's not just something that we can fix overnight. Wow. And so the leaderboard isn't even working. Yeah. Like the board right over by Java Hut where you can see oh, this is happening this weekend or that weekend. Yeah. That's not even working.
Funny story. Okay, all right. So once upon a time, last year, when I was in fact working as an assistant, you gave me a way cooler title and I don't remember it, but my official title was assistant for the Community Food Council. I did a lot of their communications and outreach, sort of social media posty, newslettery stuff. And so
community engagement officer.
Ooh, that sounds fancy. Do I get a badge?
I'm really good at coming up with fancy titles.
So one of my gigs that I was really excited about was promoting the Seed and Plant Exchange. And so, there were a lot of ideas buzzing through the air and everything like that. And, I was also tasked with ordering merch and things like that. So I was bouncing around between all of these various places, trying to coordinate, trying to get the word out that this really cool thing was happening. And I went to the fairgrounds to try and get up on their sign. I'd talked to Dre about it, and we decided, okay, we're going to go ahead and get that put up on the sign, big old advertisement for everyone in town, Seed and Plant Exchange. This is what is going to happen. And then when I went to go do it, the light was out. Right. And so I went on a completely different squirreled adventure, filling the merch and everything like that, and back and forth, bouncing around in all of these places. And then one day, as I'm driving by, the sign pops right back on again, and I turn in immediately, and I got it put in. I got the Seed and Plant Exchange thing put in because I saw the light pop on. I'm like, oh, it's ready, time to go. Boop.
Oh, amazing.
Apparently now it's the time, as I was in the turn lane. It was beautiful. So it's a little bit funny to me that came full circle. Hopefully they get their power sorted out.
I just love that it's always a story of overcoming adversity.
It is.
Ain't
that life?
I think it is. I think it is.
And death and rebirth and all of it.
I just feel like that's a special Del Norte quality,
though.
is our ability to be resilient. And I mean, even today when we had the little weird power glitch and all that was happening, and we were just like, oh, okay, well, we'll just do this other thing instead.
That's fine. We'll figure it out. Yeah. Learning that resilience. I mean, there's so many lessons from the garden, and I think that was a huge one for me. Is because there were some seeds that I started that I was so excited for. Like I ordered from these specialty catalogs, and I actually read the instructions and I tried really hard to make it work, and it didn't. And I wept for that. I wept for that seed that didn't come to fruition. It didn't germinate, didn't sprout. Because I had my hopes up, and then I planted this other thing over here, and it really took off, and it was good, and it was productive, and I got to make a lot of things with it, and I. From beginning to end, I got to bake things for the people I care about with things that I grew myself. And
that's so rewarding.
I was really bummed when the critters started stealing my snacks out of the garden. I was really bummed when those seeds didn't germinate and sprout. But you know what? I got so much joy and fulfillment out of the things that I was able to harvest from that garden and share with the people I cared about, because it's like, oh, I did it. Maybe I'm not that much of a failure after all. Maybe I'm just learning.
It can happen to anyone. So one of the things I've been doing is preparing for this seed and plant exchange by planting some seeds. Yeah. And I just went in to check on them today, and they were all eaten. Every single one.
The birds are like, oh, there's something for me. Or was it the mice?
I'm pretty sure it was our good old friends slugs and snails.
Slugs and snails?
Well, they're hungry too.
That's true. We gotta set up an official slug habitat for them. Like, here you go, buddy. Here's your food. Yeah. You come over here in your little we'll set it up. They can have their own little, almost like a little fairy garden, but for slugs specifically. We'll make it classy, you know?
That's a really great idea for a camp activity this summer.
Let's set it up for them.
I think we'll maybe make some slug habitat.
There you go.
We do that on accident a lot at the food forest. So
maybe we can just be intentional about it, and they'll stop
Yeah.
taking the stuff that we had set aside for something else because they have their own space.
And that usually is the recommendation, is, just grow enough to feed everybody. Because they're beautiful. Coming for you.
That's beautiful. That was one of the things, a conversation I had with Aya. I always forget her official title.
She's a program coordinator.
Program coordinator for the Food Council as well. Love her, beautiful human. And I remember there was a conversation we were having one time about our greens that we were growing, and how the how the slugs and the snails were coming up and munching on them. I'm like, well, how do you stop them? I don't. I just set aside some for them.
She's
they
wise.
gotta eat too.
She's really wise.
They gotta eat too. Be like, this one's yours, little buddy, and this one's mine. And I don't mind you trying some of mine, but please don't destroy all of it, because
exactly.
I made this special one just for you.
Well, and I think that you were saying that we can learn so much from the garden, and we absolutely can. One of the things that I pulled from what you were saying is the truthism that we can always begin again. And that's a wonderful thing to remember, especially if you got lulled into a false sense of security and you planted some seeds maybe outside back in this beautiful February that we had. And we had some of those bright, sunshiny days, and we were like, yeah, it's happening. Spring is here. And then now this weather that we've just been so gracefully relieved from rolled through, and it got cold and frosty out there, and there was lots of hail, and maybe your little sproutlings died. So it's important to remember we can always begin again.
It's true. It's true. It really is. I want to share a little brief anecdote about that, because that's exactly what happened last weekend. We got a little patch of sunshine, and it was in the middle of this whole storm, but I'm like, I need the vitamin D in my life right now. I am so depressed. I am so lethargic. I need to stick my hands in dirt, and I need to just experience nature in this tiny little way, in this one little window that I can. And so I put together my little seed starts and everything like that in my little starter tray that's got its little cover on it. And it's so it almost has a little greenhouse thing to it and everything
those are
like
great.
that. And I set up the seeds in the soil there, and then I went inside, and that's when the hail started. Just immediately filled up my little seed tray. I'm like, oh, all right, buddy, you're coming inside with me. You're going to spend some time on the windowsill.
Oh, I know.
Nature, she feisty.
She be feisty, especially if you're not looking, right? She'll remind you, better pay attention.
It's true. Okay, I'm going to put on another song, and I'm going to call this a full circle moment. It's called Deferred Gratification, because I would say that of all of the lessons of the garden, of which there have been many.
Oh, yeah.
Actually waiting to see something through from the beginning of, I have this idea of a seed.
Yeah.
And I want to do something with it, all the way through, sowing those seeds, and then helping them germinate, and then tending to them, and weeding things out as they grow, and
persevering through the challenges, right?
Just really sticking with it and building that relationship where you're coming back and you're checking on that thing that you are nurturing. It took months and months and months for anything to come from that. But when it did, it was a beautiful thing that I got to share with people I love.
So satisfying, right?
It is so satisfying.
Yeah.
And deferred gratification is one of those life skills that all of us tend to struggle with in the electronic age, because, we're rewiring our brains to expect new content every 7 seconds. And, it's kind of detaching us from that natural synchronous relationship that we do have to nature. And so, deferred gratification.
Yeah.
Lessons from the Garden. And of course it's by Ani DeFranco, because you already knew it was. Stay tuned. You are listening to KFUG LP Crescent City. It's about 6 minutes past the top of the hour. I did it before, I did it after, and now I'm going to touch the button again. You are listening to KFUG LP Crescent City. I'm Amanda Dockter, and I've got a donut in my mouth. Thank you, Ange.
You're so welcome.
So we were just having this beautiful conversation about how deferred gratification in the garden is a skill that I personally have been picking up, but one that we want to continue to pass on to the youths as well, because they spend a lot of time on screens. And this is not like a judgment like, oh, technology's bad. Like, y'all know me. I'm on social media all the time.
We all spend a lot of time on screens.
We all do it.
It's
no
not
judgment.
Just young people.
No judgment. But when you're growing up and your brain's developing, and that's like what it is getting tuned into all the time, it makes it really hard to achieve satisfaction, is what we were talking about. And it makes it hard to want to try new things, because when you fail, if you don't have that supportive scaffolding in place, you're like, what's the point? Why bother keep trying?
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah. And I feel like we're asking the youth to do that all the time. We're like, you should try things. You should do this. You should do that. Be an entrepreneur, this or that or the other. But then as adults, we can forget our role in that.
Yeah.
And that's in showing up to support them.
Yeah.
And specifically, if you want to show up and support some youth, you have an opportunity at this Seed and Plant Exchange.
Hey.
One of the things that I've been working on behind the scenes is I've been partnering with the ag classes at the high school at Del Norte High. And we've had several students, groups of students from their classes, come out to the food forest and plant bare root strawberry plants.
Yay!
And we did this in a day of workshops. It was amazing. We demonstrated the technique to the students, and then they got in there, got their hands in the dirt, and we potted up hundreds of strawberry plants. I think we put the number at around 350 for the day.
So strawberry fields forever.
We have so many strawberries.
Let me take you down to the Del Norte Seed and Plant Exchange, because...
Yeah, so they will actually be selling these strawberry plants, because now they're plants. They're not just little baby dormant things in a box.
They did it. They did
it. So they'll be having a table and vending and selling these strawberry plants as a fundraiser for their programming.
Awesome.
So it's a really cool way to support the youth in our community and also get some really amazing strawberry plants. The plants themselves are the same variety that we grow in the food forest.
Oh, okay.
And I'm really fond of this variety because there's two different ways we can do strawberries. We can have all of our fruit ripen at the same time. And that's really great if you're like, I want to make a bunch of jam.
Jam is my jam.
Jam is my jam. And I need all these strawberries to be ready at the same time so I can make a big batch of jam. But if that's not your jam and you want to just keep harvesting strawberries all throughout the season, there's another variety that lends to that. And that's what we have planted at the food forest. So the first kind is called June bearing, because that's usually when they throw out all their berries. They start producing them in June, and they do that all at once. Or there's everbearing, which is kind of like what it sounds like, right? It's going through the whole season. So they'll start in June when the other plants are starting to produce fruit, but they'll keep producing fruit all the way up until we get that hard frost that kills everything, usually in late October or November.
Gotcha.
Yeah.
Gotcha. Well, that's cool. And
so
these
berries
are the everberries
all throughout the season. Yes. So these are the everbearing. The variety is Seascape, if we have any strawberry nerds in the house.
Strawberry nerds.
I'm a strawberry nerd. So my people, come at me.
Love it. Oh my goodness.
Yeah. And so that's the variety that the students will have for sale. And if you need some strawberries in your garden, which I think you do, everybody does.
I mean, it's such a treat.
It really is. It really is.
To just go out into nature and just be able to pluck something so sweet and juicy and just be like, thanks.
Yeah. Either you've got it for your snacks, or maybe you're adding it to your yogurt for breakfast, or harvesting fresh from your garden to then incorporate into your meal is again back to that satisfaction piece. It's really satisfying.
You can't really place it on the same scale. Like on a hot day in the summer, picking a berry and tasting the warm juice as it dribbles down your chin is not the same as some refrigerated little green basket strawberry that you picked up at the grocery store that's kind of like bland and tasteless.
Well, and most of our strawberries are traveling quite a long ways. You know, these plants actually came from where our major strawberries are produced in Watsonville in the Salinas Valley. And that's where most of our strawberries that we get commercially come from. The Driscoll's farm.
Gotcha.
That most of us, buy that brand.
That looks like a familiar label I've seen on things I eat sometimes.
Yeah. They are the main berry producers, and that's where they're located. So, all our stuff's getting trucked up from what I like to call Central California. Most people call it Northern California. But those of us that actually live in Northern California call that Central California.
I recently road tripped down to Central California, and I always love looking at like the different like tourist shops and merch that they have and the swag because we're down in like Mendocino, and they're like the real Northern California. I'm like, okay.
There's a whole bunch more after you.
Which is silly because it's just silly. What is the real? That always cracks me up when somebody's like, oh, it's the real one. I'm like, I mean, we're the real. I mean, but all of these borders
Isn't
are kind
that
of
relative.
It's all relative.
It's all pretty relative.
But it is funny because we've got that whole like little like neighbor rivalry thing going on, and it makes for a fun joke.
It does. It brings the humor. We're down with that. We can.
So if you want some locally brought up strawberry plants that the Del Norte High School agricultural department youths have so lovingly nurtured and prepared for you, those will be available for sale at the Del Norte and Tribal Lands 2024 Seed and Plant Exchange, Saturday, March 16th, noon to 4 p.m. You can pick up and so they're pre-started. You just basically transplant them.
You just have to transplant them into your garden. Yeah, they're already ready already.
They're already ready. So go ahead and support these youths and give them your money and let them know that you are proud of them for sticking their hands in their dirt.
Yeah, following their dreams, right?
Absolutely.
Yeah, and they are beginning gardeners as well, to tie it back into our Seed to Supper class. So, you don't have to be embarrassed or sad if you're a beginning gardener because you're cool, basically.
Yeah.
Because you're hanging with the youth, too. That automatically makes you cool.
We were talking off mic about how hard it can be to like want to try new things and persevere on new things when you run into failure without supportive scaffolding. So step one right out the gate, the community, the Del Norte and Tribal Lands Community Food Council, putting on these events, the Seed and Plant Exchange, as well as the Seed to Supper workshop. They want to put that scaffolding in place for you so that you don't feel like a failure, so you don't give up, so you have that initial success. But you also told me a little tip about something you can plant if you want to win. If you need a win in your life.
You need a win, because we all need a win. We need that easy win. And this is something that I usually counsel people to create for themselves, because, you know, it can suck. Like you were saying, to fail and be like, I
was so excited
for that one little seed or this variety. And maybe we picked watermelon and those just don't grow well here. So having something that you know will be a success right out the gate can kind of boost your motivation and help you keep coming back to the table, keep coming back to the garden bed, if you would. Yeah. And the one that I usually advise is our good friend radish.
Radish.
Rad-ish.
They are rad-ish.
Yeah. Because they germinate really quickly and successfully. Awesome. Usually in all seasons. Okay. They grow fast, so you can harvest them within 60 days. And
that's right.
They're really fast growers, even less days sometimes, depending on the variety that you get. So radish, they're rad.
If you're new to the gardening deferred gratification game, and you're like, I cannot wait like 4 months for this I need to see some success. Radish is a great way to go. And another one actually that I learned last year when I was experimenting myself is microgreens, sprouting your own microgreens.
Oh,
in the
absolutely.
windowsill.
Yeah.
In a little ventilated jar. You got to make sure that you're like rinsing and draining the jar of your little microgreen seeds like once or twice a day. Yeah. You don't want it to get all like funky in there.
No funk.
Yeah, because mold and mildew will in fact grow on that. But if you're rinsing it, what I did was I put my little microgreen seeds in a jar, and I bought one with a special sprouting lid. But people will do like a paper towel and a rubber band situation.
You can do all kinds of DIY things. We don't need fancy equipment. Yeah, that's another reason why I love the Seed to Supper class, because it really meets people where they're at and really brings in a lot of like low cost or no cost ideas to gardening. We don't need all the fancy trays. We don't need all the fancy greenhouses. We can make a greenhouse actually out of one of those salad containers that you buy your greens in.
I started some seeds in old like plastic sandwich containers last year.
I mean, there's plenty of plastic laying around.
It's true. Might as well use it for something. And I found out that sprouting microgreens in the windowsill, rinsing it twice, rinsing and draining it. But when I went to bed, when I woke up in the morning, in about a week and a half, I had like good lush microgreens. Yeah, they don't turn green right away though. The chlorophyll process that takes a minute. I learned that. You can go ahead and like within a week and a half. Yeah. Boom. So if you're struggling on the instant gratification front and you want to try something and not feel like a failure, radishes in about 2 months, or if you're a little less patient than that, you can go microgreen sprouts, but you just gotta remember to rinse them, otherwise you will get a little sad.
Well, and another cool thing to learn about the microgreens is that they're actually twice as nutritious as the full-grown plant, because all the nutrition that is in the full-grown plant is in the little baby. And it's concentrated because it's baby size.
It's concentrated nutrition. When I was a kid, I hated sprouts. When my mom tried to feed them to me, I'm like, no, that gross, don't touch that. But now that I'm an adult and I realize that my body needs micronutrients or it's going to shut down, I'm like, okay, what is the easiest way to do this? How do I take my medicine? And you know what? Sprouts, bang for buck. The micronutrients are all in there in much higher concentrations than in the fully grown version of the green leafy that comes out of it.
Absolutely.
Who would have thunk?
Yeah, absolutely. And I really like to lean on those in the winter. Yeah. Because we are, we live here. We all just realized what we just experienced with the wetness and the muddy.
The gray
and the mud.
The dreary.
And so that's a really great way to eat fresh greens, basically,
keep them in
all
your
throughout
diet.
The winter. And really keep that nutrition on lock.
Just sprout them in the windowsill. It takes less sunlight than you think for the microgreens, I found.
For sure, because
especially in the jar.
Seeds don't actually need light to germinate.
Yeah,
they need light once they germinate.
Turn green.
Yeah,
that's where the green turning process comes into play.
But most seeds, because think about it, they're underneath the soil.
Right.
They're not getting very much light under there, and they still pop their little heads out. Thank goodness. Yeah. Only to be eaten by slugs and snails. I'm sorry, seeds. I'm so sorry.
Safe travels on your journey. On to the next thing, living being. On to the next thing.
I'll follow my own advice. We can always begin again. And boy, do we.
And how. Oh my gosh. Okay. Did you had other notes on there and I squirreled you?
No, we're good.
We did it.
I mean, we did want to talk a little bit about kids' activities that'll be happening.
Yes.
But we can just mention that, hey, at the Seed and Plant Exchange, you don't have to leave the kids at home. You can actually bring them.
Yes.
We're going to have a special area just for kids and kids' activities, for parents and kids if you want to hang out and learn some kids stuff too. I'll be there. That's where I want to hang out.
And Ange does the Food to Farm summer camp with the kids. So she is like well versed. Will Melanie be involved as well? Melanie Cross?
Actually, we're really sad because Melanie is going to a school garden conference that weekend.
Oh,
so she will be hanging out, learning
spirit.
About kids, doing cool garden stuff. She just won't be in the Del Norte zip code.
We'll be doing it in a different location. Okay, all right. So I can attest to the fact that these lovely humans are fantastic with tiny humans.
It's true. People trust me with their children.
Yeah. Food and Farm summer camp that you've got going during the summer months. You teach classes that way, and I've only heard good things. And granted, I'm sure the people I'm hearing them from are biased, but it's because we all care about the same things. So is that a bias or is that just a shared value?
I think it's a shared value. I'm going to call it a shared value.
Yeah, we're going to go with that.
Yeah.
So kids' activities at the Seed and Plant Exchange, again, coming up March 16th. That's a Saturday, noon to 4 p.m. at the Del Norte County Fairgrounds. It should be in the Floral Building.
Provided there are no further accidents.
Provided.
Let's not invoke that.
We do not wish to tempt the wrath of whatever from high atop the thing.
Yes.
But all sorts of hands-on activities for the kiddos, really getting them interested in the process.
Yeah.
And like I said, I brought Victor to the Seed and Plant Exchange last year. He wasn't there the entire time with me, but he did help me work the information table there for a little bit. I have a picture of it. It was stinking
so
adorable.
Great. Oh, that's awesome.
This is a very kid and family friendly space. So if you're like,
1000%.
I want to go do this, but I don't want to drag the kids.
Well,
like,
and
no,
I
we got stuff for them.
I want to plug supporting the youth some more because on the same day at the same place, a little later in the evening, the 4-H is doing their annual event where they do a soup auction.
Oh, is that the same day?
It is. Yeah, it is.
The Seed and Plant and the
so you literally can go from the Seed and Plant Exchange to the soup event for 4-H and really get your community support going.
There you go.
All in one place.
There you go. See how it all comes together.
That cross-pollination we always like to talk about, right? I know. Garden puns forever.
Garden puns for life. Thank you so much. I boiled water for more tea, and then I got so delighted by our conversation that I forgot it existed, and it's probably cold again.
Oh, that's fun.
Oh, my goodness. Okay, all right. So I'm just going to give the information for these dates one more time for anybody who just happens to be tuning in anew. The Seed and Plant Exchange will be taking place at the Del Norte County Fairgrounds. That is on Highway 101 across from Starbucks. March 16th, that is a Saturday, noon to 4 p.m. This is a completely free event, very family friendly. There are going to be hands-on demonstrations. You're going to learn about grafting, learning how to do your frankenfruit situation. There's going to be activities for the kids. You can buy strawberry plants from the high school ag department. And when all that's over, you can go get some soup from the 4-H kids. Imagine that.
I know, right?
Yeah, it all works out. And
a whole day of fun.
And then the next week, because these beautiful humans don't stop there when it comes to community building and ecosystem revival, Seed to Supper. You are going to want to register for that at dnatlfood.com. Go ahead and register for that Seed to Supper workshop. That is going to be March 21st. You said 5:30?
5:30 is when our first meeting will be happening, yeah.
And this is a free class, it's a hybrid hands-on / study at home. I'm looking at the workbook curriculum right here in front of me, and it's literally Seed to Supper. It's just demystifying the growing process so that you can have your own fresh veggies that taste way better than the ones that you got at the grocery store and are cheaper, by the way.
Yeah, and do it with a little bit of confidence, right?
Yeah.
You know, a little bit of backbone, that scaffolding of support like you were
Yes.
talking about. Yeah, not only does the Food Council want to help provide that, but this Seed to Supper class actually gives you that scaffolding as well.
It's beautiful. And that like, I mean, normally you take a class, you got to pay like $100 for a workbook. And this is a free resource. This is available to our community.
Yeah,
so
absolutely.
take advantage. If you are curious about starting your own backyard garden, don't know where to start, they've really laid it all out for you here. And that, again, you can register at dnatlfood.com coming up for that workshop, which is kicking off Thursday, March 21st, 5:30 p.m. at the Family Resource Center of the Redwoods, 494 Pacific Avenue in Crescent City. I memorized a lot of things.
You did really good.
Where's my gold star?
I got so excited. Did you see I threw my phone on the ground? I was like, I will throw this phone on the ground.
With my excitement. Yes, indeed. And how? Oh my gosh. Ange, it's always a pleasure. Do you have any closing thoughts for us here?
Oh, well, I think I'm going to continue with the theme that I love to repeat on your show. Just slow down, everybody.
Oof. Yeah. And I
all-
need that reminder frequently.
Yeah, right?
I get very franicky. That's my new word, my franicky, when I'm like, oh no, there's 5 things that I need to be doing and I can't organize which one needs to happen first, and now everybody hates me and I'm spiraling. Blah, 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 blah. Slow down.
Yeah, let's slow down. That's that lesson from the garden, you know. The radish are not going to grow themselves in one day, even though they're growing very fast.
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
And so we can remember that, you know, we can always begin again. And that slowing down allows us to have that satisfaction.
It's true. It's true, because boy howdy, the failure sucks. It does. I'm not gonna lie. When you got your hopes up for something and it didn't come to fruition, that sucks. But it in the magnitude of suckitude. The reverse image of that is a magnitude of joy that is difficult to articulate when you are finally successful and you have grown something yourself, and it tastes way better than anything you got at the grocery store, and you get to share it with the people you love, and that feeling of pride and that sense of the reciprocal nature of the act of tending to a garden and participating in the ecosystem. It's really hard to describe just how gratifying that can be. Yeah. So
it's the realness, man.
Yeah. For reals. For reals. So slow down, and I'm gonna probably have to replay this for myself at your next frantic juncture, because it happens all the time. But
I repeat it because I need to hear it too. So
we help ourselves when we help each other, and sometimes the advice I give is something I needed to hear. You know. If
you know, you know.
If you know, you know, you know. That's beautiful. Okay, so let me take another one of your songs here. We've got, was Fruition yours?
Oh, it was. Yeah.
Is that a good
kind
one,
of
do you
like
think?
a love song? I love love songs.
Do you think it's appropriate?
Always. I love the garden. Yeah.
All right. Well, then we'll
Talks
go.
about blue sky.
Oh, well, and it's a blue sky sort of day, so that's perfect.
That's in the first line.
Let's
listen to it.
Ange, thank you as always. When not the fake out spring, but when the real spring hits for realsies, we'll have you back on again.
Beautiful.
And for our KFUG listeners who are going to have Ange Gray withdrawals between here and there, you can actually go back and look at the old Springtime in Del Norte episode on our YouTube page when we very first came in and we started talking about stuff together. That is still I still go back and listen to it sometimes just for the joy, because it was such a lovely conversation. And
I love it when we get to do this.
yes, indeed. And you know I'm going to have you back. You know it's going to happen. So
Awesome. It's my pleasure.